Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel Better Together. I'm Cara
and I'm Dan,
and we have had a tiny little break from filming.
Tiny little break.
How
many weeks?
Filming.
2 weeks.
We have been filming.
Yes.
Yeah, we have been filming, but we haven't been editing or posting because we've had a little stumbling block with the technology side of things. But here we are for another chat, and today we thought we would talk about things that we wish we knew when we were younger, maybe between like that 17 to 25 age gap.
Yes, we're older and I'd like to think slightly wiser. But you know, there's always, like, I think you already said this when we were having a discussion before we started filming, that we wouldn't change anything that we've done because it has led us to where we are today.
Yeah.
But it's more about what we wish we knew so we could kind of get to where we wanted to be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But not just that, also just, you know, a lot of people give you advice when you're younger and that sort of stuff, and you know, it's hard to take it on board because you think you know best.
And it is a bit of a tricky one too, because sometimes you wish that you could have maybe avoided certain heartaches or letdowns if you'd made different decisions. You think, yeah, you might have had a smoother ride and a happier life over the last 10, 15 years, but then you wouldn't have learnt the things that you learnt to make you who you are, and you might make those same mistakes again. And
That's
so
true.
this is why a lot of people, including us, say no regrets, wouldn't change it, but what do we wish we knew? Maybe like you said before, to make things happen a little bit quicker or not have so many roadblocks. Maybe there's certain things that do happen through the course of your life that no one warns you is going to happen, and I think maybe that's because they think it's just happened to them and it doesn't happen to everyone. But I guess as you get older and you start talking to a lot of people, you find that everyone in your age group has experienced a lot of the same, if not all of the same things that you've experienced.
That's right.
And then if you were to ask your parents and your grandparents, they'd say, oh yeah, I've been through all of that in my life too. So it's like, could you have warned us a little bit that, you know, we weren't gonna, you know, coast through with, you know, but that's life. You learn as you go. And
but hopefully us sharing our experiences and what we wish we knew helps some of you guys. I think that's the goal, really. My first thing, which is on the back of what I just said, is that I wish that I had taken on the little advice that I did get. Like, you know, I do know a lot of, like, my mum and my dad and things like that did offer some advice in certain aspects of my life as I was going through it. There were certain things that they would contribute their advice towards, and I would be like, oh yeah, right, you know, kind of like one of the things would be how school's like a really enjoyable time of your life, and you know, make the most of it while you're there. I wish I had, because both of my parents regretted their experience at school, not appreciating just how good it was, basically, you know, being with people, you know, your friends every day, if you're lucky enough to have good friends at school. But like, I just didn't take it on board. I think my dad as well was just, you know, saying things like, you know, start saving while you're young, all those kind of little,
that's a big one,
really, really good pieces of advice that I just kind of went, yeah, that's a great idea as a teenager, as you do, but then you never actually do it because your own life is like happening and you're like, but I want to buy this and I want to do this, and you end up making all the same mistakes that they did.
Yeah.
And so you don't actually listen.
That's such a good point, what you said about actually the advice we were given, we don't take it, because it's all about what time in your life is that advice going to suit you as well. And when you are a teenager, you do think you know better, or you don't understand how that's going to relate. You're not thinking that far ahead, you're just thinking about in that moment, this thing that I want now, or the money that I could use now.
Exactly.
You're not planning ahead. So yeah, it's not, maybe not necessarily that the advice wasn't given to us.
Yes.
It was just that it wasn't relevant to us in our own mind at that time, maybe.
Yeah, we didn't think it was necessary, because kind of, I think more like, you know, you kind of go, oh, it won't happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna spend my money on this and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll make more money.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of just don't really, and with the school situation, it's like, you know, it's school. I mean, yeah, all right, you took it for granted, and that means I have to enjoy it, and you kind of like, yeah, whatever, mum, whatever, dad, like, you know, like, you're just telling me that so I like it, so that I'll stay in school, like, you know. But then when you actually leave school, when I left school, oh my god, I was like, why didn't I listen? Like, I did finish school, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't enjoy it. I let myself go in year 12 as far as like, I did not give it my all. I really regret not seizing it a lot more, the opportunity of being there. So I guess, yeah, that's my number one. Not number one as in like it hits the top of the list, but my first what I wish I knew.
Yes, these things that we are listing are not in order.
Not in order by any means.
Or, yeah, order of relevance or regret or anything like that. It's just...
Hang on a sec, I'm sitting on something. Oh,
good luck.
It's a little horseshoe ring.
I do.
Oh my god. Just give me a minute. Oh my god. It was poking me in the butt.
I don't want it.
Oh,
so cute. Yeah, so they're not in any particular order. And off the back of your school one, I regret not finishing high school.
Yes, because you didn't.
I didn't
finish high
focus.
school. Yeah.
I didn't focus in school. I kind of just coasted through, was there to socialize, and kind of completely unrelated to that, I was kind of a loner at the same time. Like, I didn't interact with a lot of people at school. I had a few close friends, but not a big friendship group. So yeah, it was kind of a loner, but kind of just there to socialize at the same time. Like, I didn't really use school for what it was, you know, there for.
Therefore, yeah.
And my parents said to me at the end of year 10, if you can find a job in the school holidays, you don't have to go back to school if you don't want to. And I thought, that's great. Both my parents didn't finish school and they both have jobs that they enjoy and they've raised a family
and are happy,
and what could go wrong?
Yeah.
So yeah, not to put any blame on them, but their advice also was, well, we left school and we're fine. So I thought, okay, that's all good, I'll do that.
And that's the thing too, is like, you know, their experience of leaving school and still managing to achieve what they wanted to was a lot different to when at our time when we wanted to leave school. Like, it wasn't as easy to start from the ground up, to learn on the job, like it was for them.
Or be given a go. You walk in the door and say, hey, is there any jobs?
That's exactly right. Whereas now it's like, no, you have to finish school or have a, you know, university degree to even compete with other people out there. So, you know, good advice because it worked for them, but bad advice because it was a different point in time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like,
Yeah, and I think if I'd known and been more focused as to what I wanted to do leaving school, rather than just getting a retail job to get a paycheck every week and not actually doing anything with my life, things might have been a bit different too. I might have had either a bit more focus leaving school to move on to a different type of study or a different job, or had the focus to go, oh no, I need to be staying in school to reach the goals that I have for myself, but I didn't have any.
No, and I'm the same, and that leads me on to the next point, and the third thing is like not knowing or having any direction.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people would have an idea at least in high school about where they want to be after they finish school.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to finish school, even if that's not on the cards,
they necessary.
Well, they kind of have an idea of what steps they need to take. So they might go, oh, I want to be a plumber, or I want to be a hairdresser, or I want to be a, you know, CEO of a big organization, or I want to be in politics, or I want to be a doctor, or, you know, whatever the case may be, a teacher, a musician, a singer, whatever the case is. I could go on.
Can I get an A to Z listing of all the careers that are available in Australia? That would be amazing. And then I'm going to choose what I want to do when I grow up.
Do you know what? I did that. You know, when you get to like year 10, they kind of ask you to sit down and they give you like a book of like all the I'm not sure if it was TAFE or I think it might have been university, and it was related to what courses you can study, and in that book it had a list of A to Z careers and then what courses you needed to study depending on what career. And I went through the whole list and I could not pick.
Where was my book? My life could be so different. Sorry, go ahead. Just live in regret right now. Just sit here thinking of what my life could have been.
So I just had that book. The book that you didn't get, I went through it. It didn't help me. So there you go. Sliding doors. Like, okay. you know, it did not help. I went through the whole list, A to Z. I could not pick one thing. I mean, there was things that you kind of go, oh, I could do that and I could do that. But then the self-doubt, like, you know, I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then, you know, I wanted to be a doctor, and then I wanted to be a model. I'm like,
don't laugh.
I'm like 5'3".
Yeah, but there's models for all shapes and sizes. Well, I guess we didn't know that it was going to be like that now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like, you didn't look like Miranda Kerr or Heidi Klum, then you weren't going to be a model. Like, it's simple. Like, isn't that...
I don't look like Miranda.
Oh, she's just had a light bulb.
What?
Sorry to break it to you. Well, neither do I.
Do I at least look like Heidi Klum?
You know who you look like, alright? At least you look like someone famous and beautiful.
Like? I do not look like Nicole Kidman, no!
But come on, even I don't look like Miranda Kerr. I don't look like Heidi Klum. Yes, I'm tall, but I don't look like anyone.
No, we look
all
like
just
ourselves. And that's good.
It is good.
Oh, we said that at the same time.
Because it's true.
Yeah, that's another point too. We'll get onto that later, but I do, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so there was so many different things that I wanted.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, I could not choose, I had no direction. And even when I had inklings of, oh yeah, that could be something I wanted to do, and that might be something I want to do, the doubt was just too overwhelming. I could not follow through with it. It was kind of like, no, I'll never be smart enough to achieve that, or I'm not pretty enough to achieve that, or, you know, just I'm not skilled enough to do that. Like, you know, it was just, there was never, even when I could narrow it down slightly, I couldn't have the confidence to pursue it. But you know, the focus in itself was hard to just,
yeah. I think for me, like the same thing when you think, yeah, sure, when I finish school, I want to be a doctor. It's going to take you 7 to 10 years to be a doctor. And I've gone, wow, that's an awful long time to be at school. I don't really like school.
Yeah.
Or that's an awful long time into the future to really decide if that's what I want.
And that's your next point. We talked about this, and I go for it. But I love that you're about to bring this up, because this is one of the biggest. What I wish I knew, or what I wish I had thought of.
Yeah. You can feel it coming.
I can feel it coming, and I'm like, this is so good.
That 30-year-old me is telling 17-year-old me the time is gonna pass anyway.
It's been 30 years, and back when you were like 17 and you were like, 7 years, I'm never gonna study for 7 years.
30 years.
Sorry.
I'm like, I'm not 47.
So you're 30 now, and
Quick maths.
When you were 17, tell your 17-year-old self it's been, you know, the 7 years
X amount of years.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Like, it's just crazy.
And then it's so strange as well, because I could think, yeah, so I could be a doctor right now if I wanted to be. I could be going to work this morning as a GP or as a...
Sorry to interrupt. Wesley is sitting in his high chair with us, and he's hungry, so just give me a minute.
That looks so yummy, but I'm starving. Danielle called me hungry guts.
Well, when
I was raiding her cupboard looking for just any single edible thing.
To be fair, it's my fault. I haven't stocked my cupboard. And I'm like, here, have a cracker.
Those crackers were delicious. Have you seen that Eddie Murphy when he's like starving and he has a Ritz and he's like, is this just a regular cracker? Is this a Ritz? And he's going crazy over these plain crackers because he's so starving.
That's you this
That
morning.
was me.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I just completely starving, or are these the best crackers I've ever had in my whole life? I think.
Oh yeah,
was
so the
saying
time
that,
is
yes,
going to pass
it
anyway.
is.
Yeah.
And I could be getting up to go to work as a doctor today, and I think, the sliding doors thing. If that is me, would I want that job now? Like the path that you end up having and taking is the one you're supposed to have, and you end up where you're supposed to be.
But it is interesting, isn't it?
It is
it's kind of
interesting.
like, at least
It's good as a backup.
yeah, that's what I was about to
it's a safety
say.
net.
Even if you don't know what you want to do, this is a good one. Even if you don't know what you want to do,
Choose something.
just pick something that you're even remotely interested, just a tiny bit interested in. Even if you think, I could do that, maybe, am I interested? Yeah, okay, maybe teaching, or, you know, if you want to be a marine biologist, or, you know, an editor of a news magazine, just work towards it. Even if you're not 100% sure that that's what you want to do, even if it's just a small thing, like a small, like, maybe I want to do it.
Yeah.
If you can't think of anything else that you want to do more, just do it. Just work towards that. Because if I could tell myself one thing when I was in school, that would be the key thing. Just pick anything.
Yeah.
And work towards something, achieve it, and work in there. And then change later. Change later. Just focus on now and just working towards completing something. That is if I could tell myself that, that would probably be like number one on my list career-wise.
Yeah.
That would definitely be at the top. Like, go back to 15-year-old Danielle and say, just pick one thing, even if you don't think it's what you want to do, even if you don't know that that's definitely what you want to do, and just do it. Just study it. Just complete it. Because then when you're 23, you have a job, you have a career, and you're working towards something, and you can change later.
And you can use a good salary to grow what you want to do on the side. Rather, I mean, some people, they'll just say, no, working is not for me. I'm going to work really hard at what I love, and I'm going to, for lack of a better term, struggle for it. But there is wisdom in saying, like, get a job that pays well, gives you security.
Yeah.
You're investing in yourself so that you can invest in what you love and build it with some safety, and that way you're not struggling and you're not
financially anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It won't take long. Like, when you're driven,
yeah,
and once you are an adult as well, like now we're 30, well, I'm turning 30, we're basically 30, both of us, and we're starting to finally realize what we want to do. It's okay to not know until you're 30, but you know, if you just figure something out earlier on, have that as a backup, get yourself to where you need to be, and then when you're 30 you change your mind, that's totally fine.
Yeah, it takes away that temptation to give up as well. If you have something that's giving you security and a foundation to work from, then you're less likely to go, oh, this is really hard, maybe I should stop following my dream and just work a regular job.
That's such a good point. That is a really good point, because not working and having no money is such a crutch to hold on to. Crutch. Such a crutch to hold on to. As in, like, you know, when something, like you said, isn't easy, when it's hard, like, you know, starting a blog, starting a YouTube channel is extremely difficult, and it's so easy to just go, it's not working.
And it's one of the simplest and easiest things to do. Set up a camera, sit in front of it, talk about something.
But it's also one of the hardest
things. But it is so hard to do, because as soon as the camera is there, it's like, what was I going to say?
It's
just, so
yes.
that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So it's like, anyway, it takes away, at least like you said, it takes that away, it takes that,
it does,
like, it takes that urge to quit away.
And you enjoy it more,
yeah,
I think, because you're not treating it as a job. Like, people say, what's that saying? Do what you love as a job and you'll never work a day in your life.
But then what you love becomes a job anyway.
That's right. For me, that would never ring true, because then I would be forced to do what I enjoy, even when I sometimes felt like not doing it. And it would become unenjoyable eventually. It's always nice to have something that you love and keep it for yourself, and do it when you want to do it.
That's true.
And I guess that's where people are finding the balance these days as well, where they can work their own hours, and they are only working when they're inspired to work, rather than, you know, if you're a designer, working for yourself, do your own hours. That's one thing. If you get a job as a designer working for a boss, and then you're having to design off the cuff, or when you're not inspired, it's hard work doing what you love as a job. It doesn't make it any easier, and it doesn't make it any more enjoyable, I wouldn't imagine. Not for me personally anyway. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that would beg to differ.
Yeah, that's true.
It just wouldn't suit me at all.
That's true. I think there are a lot of people that would disagree with that. That's very true.
What else is on the list for things we wish we knew when we were younger?
On the topic of school, before we move on from school, just because if there is anyone watching, I really want to reach out to those people at school right now.
Let's see how we go.
Yes, I've had to go and get Wesley because he was getting too grumpy in his high chair because he wants attention.
Hey!
Hi everyone! Hi. Yo, what up YouTube?
Sup community. Sup. So you were going to say about not getting into high school drama?
High school drama, yes. Thank you. I had no idea how to phrase it. That's perfect. Yes, just avoid it. It's not worth it. You know, I went through so much of that high school drama when I was in high school, with the girls and the guys not feeling good enough, always being judged. It's hard not to get involved. I know what that's like. But just don't. That's all I can say. Just really, who cares if they don't want to be your friend? Who cares if they're only your friend because of who you're friends with? Like, just don't worry about that. Like, you know, those people don't matter, and you'll probably never, I don't speak to anybody that I went to high school with, not one person. Just try and avoid it if you can. It's really, like, school is so much more than the people that you go there with, and it's really there for your future. And just stay away from those people that are toxic. Did you experience that at all? No. You had a good experience. That's great.
Because I was a loner.
See, there you go. So you were smart.
Well, I had a smart mum who told me very straight in even primary school, when I was having trouble in primary school. It was starting to begin then, and I was just told, don't buy into it.
Just don't. I know that.
Don't buy into it.
It can be easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But
and I think certain personalities are more drawn to being involved, or more inclined to not care as much. Like, and I am that type of person who does lean more towards, well, if somebody thinks something of me and I can't change it, there's nothing I can do about it, and I let it go.
See, whereas
some other people,
I'm that other person. So, like, I did get drawn into it, but more so just feelings wise. I remember the girls, some of the girls that I went to high school with, look, from what I've heard, they were very tame. Like, compared to other girls, you know, these stories that you hear on the internet, they were quite tame. They weren't, like, outrageous.
Yeah.
But they were very, for a 15-year-old, they were very, like, me as the 15-year-old going through it, I found them very mean. It was awful. There was days...
They make it personal. They know how to say things that are going to wind you up and make you feel bad about yourself, so that they feel better about themselves.
You know, and they're all cliquey, and they only care about the girls that they're cliquey with. They don't care about you. Doesn't matter what they say or do to make you feel included for a split second, and then you're like, wow, and then they make you feel like this big. So just stay away from them, even when they make you feel good. Just appreciate that you felt good for a second, but don't try and keep them happy.
Don't try to get that feeling to come back again.
Don't worry
think that they're
about
gonna
it. Like, just take it for what it is. Okay, they made me feel good for a minute, but don't try and be a part of it. Like, just find the friends at school, you know, the one or two people that will that aren't involved in that, because it will really distract from your future. That's all I can say. It really will.
And it takes you longer to learn how to accept yourself.
It does.
And the sooner you learn to accept yourself, the better your life will be, regardless of if you have any goals set for yourself.
That's right.
You just will be happier every day.
You will, definitely. You know, and you're just so much more. And I wish I could tell myself that. You're just so much more than those people. You know, you really are. Anyway, thanks for letting me get that off your chest.
Bit of a counsel sesh there. That's good.
Bit of a venting sesh. I've been wanting to say this since I was 15.
It's not to say that I avoided being hurt in school completely. It just wasn't something that I was, like, taking it on board and going, well, what am I going to do about it to make them like me? So I just didn't feel that. Yes, of course it still hurt, but just didn't carry it around with me or let it bother me for too long.
That's
and I had a lot of solitude. Being a loner and not having a group of friends to impress or to hear gossip from or anything like that, I had a lot of time on my own to reflect and go, no, I like who I am, and I like the things that I like to do, and I like to do them by myself, and that alone time is very important. So maybe a good piece of advice is, if you are going through something like what Danielle has gone through when she was in high school, is to just take some time to be by yourself and reflect and think about the things that you like about yourself, and spend less time around those toxic people. And
you will find at least one other friend. I was gonna say person and friend, so it came out really weird.
Person.
You're my person. You're my person. You'll find at least one other person that at the school that you can really relate to and be a genuine friend with. You will, like, there's, you know, just.
And it could happen outside of school. That's what happened for us.
Yes,
we didn't go to the same high school. We're a year apart.
But we met in school, but just not at school.
Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't in school anymore, but you were.
Yeah.
And
so don't stress if you're not part of that world or that group or whatever. It's
so many bigger things coming for you.
And the thing is, there were times where I changed myself to try and like have them accept me. Not even to impress them, but just to have them accept me.
Yeah.
And that's just the silliest thing ever. Don't change who you are for other people. You know, if they're genuinely kind and caring, you could say and do anything that is yourself and be completely natural and kind and happy and just be who you are, and they will not judge you and they will still be your friend. In fact, they will love you because that's you and they're a genuine friend. So if they don't, if you have to change who you are even a little bit, then they're not your friend.
Yeah.
So stay away from them.
Yeah, so true.
So we've moved inside because this little guy is super grumpy.
It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
It was getting freezing out there.
Yes, hence why we're sitting right near the heater.
I took my earring off because the
yeah,
burning my
it really hits the mark.
So we've decided that we're going to actually make this video part 1 because it was getting a little lengthy, and we're going to do a part 2 next week.
Yeah.
Part 2 we will go over budget, skincare and beauty regimes for young skin, or what we wish we had done with our skin when we were young teenagers.
Yes.
And then you wanted to talk about comparing ourselves to other people even at this age. So
Yes, and there may be one or two other things as
yeah,
well,
maybe.
but
depends on how we get inspired and want to ramble on and vent.
exactly.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We hope you found what we've said already useful.
Yes.
And that it's reaching out to some of you at least.
If you found it interesting.
Alright, Ral, I'm going to leave you to end this.
If you have found it helpful and interesting and relatable, we'd love to hear from you if you leave us a comment or ask us any questions. And until then, I guess we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye!